Well, today we're going to be talking about the Hultafors GK. It's a Swedish knife company, though the steel is Japanese. It's very similar to the Mora. It's not as thick, or it's a lot thicker than the Mora, rather. It's even thicker than the new Companion, which is thicker than the Clipper. A little bit shorter blade, a little longer handle, beefier handle. It's really stout. It definitely feels like a workhorse. Now this isn't their Bushcraft model, this is their work model. It has a secondary bevel on the Scandinavian grind. It's carbon steel. And what we're going to do is we're going to process this piece of, well, we call it cedar, but it's not really cedar. It's a false cedar. We have a lot of it down here in South Jersey. So we're going to process this with the GK and a baton and just kind of see how it performs getting beat a little bit. First we're going to prep our baton, which is another piece of this cedar. One of the nice things about this false cedar is that this works really well as tinder. Kind of put that in our pocket, save it for later. So you can see that the GK here is doing a fine job using the spine to remove some of this outer bark. Now I haven't taken this spine to a file yet. I wanted you to see what it was like without any modifications. But what I probably would do is I would take the spine to a file, really square it off. You can do the same thing with a Mora, by the way, so it's nothing new. And make it so that it has a nice sharp square spine for this kind of work, and also for striking or for using a ferro steel. So let's see. With this small stuff, comes off easily enough. One thing you should know when processing a tree like this on a branch, say a branch comes up like this, what you don't want to do is cut from the top. What happens is all those nerves, all those little fibers are real tight on the top part, and on the bottom part they're stretched. So you always want to cut from underneath the branch where the fibers are weaker. We're getting to some of these branches are a little bigger. So some of these branches that are a little bigger, we'll kind of save those so we can see how it performs after some of this smaller stuff is cleared off. So this one right here is a lot bigger. This is about the same thickness as the knife handle. No problem for the knife. My angle, so I can show you, is the problem more than anything else. So absolutely zero problem to baton through that. Here's another one that's thicker. So as you can see, well, hopefully you can see, the edge is still fine. Spine is fine. Still sharp enough to shave. So now let's see if we can baton through the tree altogether, and then we'll start breaking it down for a one-stick fire. track of my cuts. So what I did there was I would go through and then I'd spin it and I'd go through all the way around. Took a little bit of effort for something this thick. It's about as thick as my wrist, but it worked. Get to a certain level of thickness, you can really basically use your hands. I think that this knife would be an absolute workhorse of a knife. After all that stuff, I can still shave my leg with it. Though obviously certain parts of the blade are a little bit more worn than others. If we just strop it a little bit, it's basically good as new. On this dry wood, it's making microscopic curls. I tell you what, a couple of things I like about it a lot. First of all, it feels really sturdy. The more knives are sturdy, they can take it a lot. This just has it's heavier for one thing, has a stout feel. I like the fact that the handle is larger. I would be curious to try their, I think it's HVK, I think is their smaller, their thinner model, more designed for bushcraft. This is more designed for working outside. I would buy it again. I think I got it for $15 plus shipping off eBay. As you can see, it takes a beating. Kind of pounded it on the butt of the knife there at one point in time. Hit it a couple times on top of the handle with my baton, and it's fine. Nice little knife. It is a little on the short side in the blade. The only area where you're really going to notice that is if you're batoning with it, and frankly, it's not very fun to baton with a knife that's 4 inches anyway. I would say that this is probably, I don't have a tape measure on me, but I would say it's probably similar in length, blade-wise, to the Enzo Trapper. I like the fact that it has a fairly high grind. if you compare it to the clipper, which you probably can't see, but the grind on the Hultafors is taller, steeper. I like that. The idea of the secondary bevel is good because you get the benefit of the Scandinavian grind, but you also get some of the strength so that you're not going to chip or roll that Scandi Ground Zero eats so easily. In terms of hardness, I'd say it's probably about a 58. Strikes sparks. This is the kind of knife where you really feel like you could abuse this thing and it would really hold up strongly. For those of you who feel like the Mora is a little bit weak and you kind of are hesitant because it's thin, man, I tell you what, I would get one of these. I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's about the same cost. Japanese steel is very good steel, and it looks like a beast. It really does. I like it a lot. I'm glad I bought it. I'm going to use it a lot more. Handle's very comfortable. The one thing I don't like is the sheath. The sheath is a piece of junk. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not a piece of junk, but one of the things they did here is that rather than just having a fixed loop, it has this snap system. I really don't like the snap system. I would much rather have something similar to the Mora sheath. This is the sheath on the new Companion. As you can see, it's a little bit better than the old Mora sheath because it has a clip at the bottom so it can't slip off. I like the Mora sheath a lot more than this, but it's a good sheath. It gets the job done. So this is the Hultafors, sorry, I've been saying it wrong this whole time. Hultafors GK. Nice little beast of a knife. I think you should pick one up if you can find someone in the United States who sells them. I know there's some guys on Canada who sell them. I don't know if they'll ship to the States. And I know that there's a guy on eBay who sells them when he'll ship from the UK. So hopefully you can find one if you want to check them out. I'd recommend. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.